Hey, what's up?
Hey, not much. Are you late now, or are you still need some time?
No, I can start. I just got home, so I'm like unpacking.
I was trying to get back to the house, but I think because I still got to do some errands with my dad, so I can just talk while we're driving here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, no, yeah, but can your dad hear me?
He can, yeah, but he's.
Oh, hello.
He can't really hear very well to begin with.
Gotcha, understand.
So he probably won't hear what you're saying anyways.
Well, hello, at any rate. You've met my dad, so.
What's that?
You've met my dad.
Yeah, your dad's a pretty healthy guy, right?
I mean, you know, we all try to lead a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he got me into, like, sports and everything early on, for which I'm grateful for.
Because he's, how old is he now?
He's, like, in his early 60s.
Yeah, that's still young, man. I mean,
yeah.
80s gets tough.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, yeah, in the modern times, I suppose.
Yeah. All right, so I mean, if you wanted to, you were talking about Kenyon. What is your current thought process on Kenyon then, or?
Well, so, like, I talked to the accountant, and the thing that's really, you know, I don't feel comfortable with is, after that conversation, he said that we really do have to pay our investor obligations first. You know, like, obviously for like, if it's like a purely 136Q specific, then yeah, that comes out, you know, after 136Q. But we do have, you know, I actually didn't even think about this, but we took the general overhead, Moore Street, you know, park, all that stuff is from the Q Street draw. So that's, you know, we can't just like keep that sitting on the draw and then take profit without that getting paid back. So if you factor in that, you know, some of the Kenyon charges, we still owe like 17.5 to Ramy.
I thought Ramy was 7,000 left or something.
Oh, actually, wait, I think you're right, because maybe we paid him a portion. I don't remember, because I just...
You already paid him something. You paid him like $7,000 out of the draw, so...
Okay, so then, yeah, that's fine. So then that's... I just, like, pulled it up, so I forgot that I paid him. I mean, I would have seen that, obviously, but... So let me fix that. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, you know, so, like, roughly 10,000 to Ramy, and then if we repay Dan...
Well, Dan's coming out of something. Dan's Q money, right? So it wouldn't be Kenyon.
Well, I mean, regardless though, because my parents' equity was pushed out of it, so it's sitting there as an investor liability. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can't pay Dan out of this money. We discussed this so many times. We have the Q draw coming. That's where Dan's coming out of, right? He's Q money, so.
Yeah, but no, I understand. But like the, you know, original money that my parents put into Q, that's just like sitting there. Then, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, we can pay them back first if you want. I mean, it's just that Dan's money's more expensive. So, from a business standpoint, we would pay the cheaper money back or the more expensive money back first.
Well, I mean, okay, fine. Whether it comes out of the next Q draw or it comes out of, you know, this. I had it like budgeted as coming out of this thing because yes, you're right. It is the most expensive, so we should pay them back first. I agree. But anyways, so I'm just like these are all the liabilities that are hanging, right? So like Ramy, the $10,000, Dan roughly 117 at this point. It's been I think roughly like, you know, whatever 9 months or something. So 117. RT's almost at 60, and then, you know, if like. Yeah, and then plus my mother just recently lent another $25K of working capital.
Yeah, that's coming out of the Q draw. We've talked about all this, right? So
well,
the next draw, that's where it's coming, because she lent it for Q, so it's coming out of the next draw.
Well, she lent it for general overhead is the point. And like, look, man, I mean, you know, this is coming straight from my account. Like, if we're just taking stuff out of the draw, and then, you know, if we have all these liabilities hanging, like. It's technically we're not, you know, we shouldn't be doing that, and it says so in the.
It's not, man.
In the deck.
We need to, man. We better get this straight real quick because, I mean, whatever, Kenyon is a separate project. So if there's any Kenyon-specific liabilities left, then absolutely they have to get paid. Like Randy and I think your mom has something left, but we don't. Overhead is not a Kenyon liability. We just have to figure out, okay, where do we put it, right?
Well, that's a question of allocation, but it's not really overhead because it's, Morse is like not really overhead. That's money we lost that has to be reimbursed before we take profit. So like, if this was like, the cost of the website or whatever.
But haven't we?
But we paid them out of the Q3 draw, which is that doesn't count as getting paid off. We're just transferring. Like we're kind of entering into the realm of funny accounting.
It's not at all. I completely disagree because the way we set up the Q draws is we're kind of getting quote unquote profit in every draw.
But Sunil, it's not profit though. See, it's quote unquote profit, but according to generally GAAP or whatever it's called, like the generally accessible accounting or whatever, it's not profit. And that's the thing that kind of worries me, man, because
it's overage from the Q's going to need $100,000 for the construction. We're getting 150. So it's just going to come off of the sales price at the end, right? Whatever money comes out at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, if we take profit before it comes out at the end, then that's not, that's not allowed. Because
this is allowed. Who's saying it's not allowed? Where is that not allowed?
I mean, just flip through our investor deck. It says we take no developer fees or any profit until all investor and principal.
That's a separate. It's not. So I mean, what do you want to do? Because I'm counting on Kenyon money. I mean, I've already got stuff that it needs to go to. So what are you suggesting? Is I guess my question.
I don't think we should take any money until these things get paid out. I'm also counting on Kenyon money, or I was counting on Kenyon money, but I don't feel comfortable pocketing.
We can't do that. I've already counted. Literally, it's totally fucked me over. And this is the first time you're telling me this. We've been talking about this for months.
Dude, we haven't talked about it for months. We haven't sat down and talked about it.
We're going to take about $100,000 a piece out of Kenyon. That's our estimated take. We've talked about this we've said this probably 10 times.
Look, man. I mean, you've said that in passing, but have we actually sat down and agreed on? And plus, look, I understand, man. I also need the money, and this is the challenge with this is we really can't take profit until we make money because so far this is our
It's just not going to work. It's not going to work because Kenyon needs to get done. The company always has liabilities, right? It's an ongoing entity, right? So it's not like we have to pay every single liability back before we ever take profit. It doesn't work that way. You can't run a company that way.
I know, man, but
people need to get paid. You need money to live and survive. So
look, I know. Look, we all need money to live and survive, but I don't know the nature of your what you need this money for. So immediately, and I'm sure there's a great reason, but that's never a good argument to do something unorthodox.
It's sitting in the bank account.
Yeah.
We can't, as partners, withhold money from partners. That's also not correct, right? Because
I mean, we can, Sunil, we can if that's the right thing to do. Because I can be like, oh, hey, I'm actually going to take 25 here or there. No, we have to abide by the best, what's good for the investor. So, look, all I'm saying is to follow exactly what it says in the deck and what it says in the operating agreements, which is to, we can take some money out of it, a minimal amount, but I think.
No, that doesn't work. I've already kind of been over with you with all this other stuff. This is the way we've done this. I've done this for 20 years. You've done this for a year.
Yeah, I know, man, but
when a project gets closed out,
yeah.
The profit on that project just needs to get paid out to the partners.
My accountant has been doing this for a really long time, and this is.
I don't care what your accountant says. I don't care.
But that accountant is kind of the final sort of, he's like.
He's not. He's not an attorney. He's not a lawyer. It's there's nothing we're doing that's illegal. So every liability.
Sunil, it may not be technically legal. And look, man, if this was your personal kind of project or whatever, but we have responsibility to these investors, and sure, we can take some money out, man, but it's not going to be $100K.
It's not. Going to be $100K less. It's going to be. There's just no way because we're making $300,000. You're telling me we can't take $100K.
Well, we're not making. We have a bunch of liabilities, and we lost $60K on Morse alone.
We have to account for those. We can say, look, if we lost $60K on.
Well, we are accounting for them because you told me yourself, man. Like 1850 is sort of questionable, like how much we're actually going to make out of it. 136 Q Street.
But you can't like future project. We can make $200,000 out of it. We don't know. So
that's true. That's true. But see, what you want to do. Look, man. I totally get your frustration. But see, what you want to do is you want to take money before the liabilities get paid out for investors.
No, I don't. You can't.
But what do you want to do then? What do you want to do then?
Look, each project is separate. Once all the Kenyan liabilities have been like paid for, then we calculate a profit. So we split the profit. We can't say, oh, we got this other project, we might lose money, and this and that. And we can't do that.
Well, what happens? So all those general liabilities are just like backed up to the very last project. Is that what you think? That makes no sense.
No, I didn't say that. You didn't hear what I'm saying. That's not what I said. You said we already allocated every liability. We've allocated when and where we're paying it out of.
Well, we haven't allocated this. I mean, like just until I told you this, you didn't even mention the fact, because I'm not blaming you for not mentioning it, because you probably weren't talking to accountants over this. But Park General 1249 Morse, that's about $90K of charges, and that like collectively Park, General Overhead, and 1949 Morse. And General Overhead is like a small amount. It's like $10K.
Right.
Which fine. That one I agree. You can make the case that it's like distributed amongst these things. But Morse, right, is about let me just real quick calculate it. I have it open here.
Right.
Yeah, that's like $64K alone, right?
Right. We said, didn't we pay some of that off already to your mom, or no? Like, wasn't some of that paid?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it came out of the 136 Q Street draw.
That's what we're saying. We said we allocated the Q money to that like overhead liability. So now you're going back to saying now.
The whole thing, though.
What?
The whole thing. We paid the whole thing off of the draw, and you're technically not supposed to do that. You realize that, right? We can't just take if you go to Michael Acton and you tell him that we're using his draw money to pay for all these other losses, like, do you think he's gonna be happy with that?
I've done it for no. The draw money is earned money. It's a loan that we've taken against a bank. We are allowed to do whatever we want with that money. There's no law. You act like there's just some oversight guy who's like telling you this shit.
Well, the oversight guy is there's an order of disbursements, and investors, the reason they get we're paying them so little, quite frankly, compared to other developers, is because we said that we're giving a preferred return.
Everybody on Kenyan needs to get paid back, and you can't hold Kenyan money based on all this other stuff. So this is a big problem if that's the stance you're taking, because this is not going to work, and this is not how it's done. And this is just wrong. And
But wrong how? Like wrong because you need the money, or wrong because
once you close out a project, you need to take all the liabilities for that project. Say, yep, if it's for that project, we're good. And if we say well, we lost $50K on.
But working capital, there's working capital.
Let me finish. If
Okay.
we lost $50K on Park and we were allocating Kenyan toward Park, if we agreed on that, well, yeah, of course, let's pay that off. But we never said that. We said the Q money, the excess Q money, is going to go pay these liabilities, and we've been paying them. We've paid a significant amount, and that's the way it is. So we've already agreed where.
We haven't. No. I think.
50K liability sitting out there that we'll just figure out how to pay it later. We're not saying that.
But how do you address the fact that it's a complete contradiction to what this operating agreement says, which is share whatever, I forget the language, but I remember reading it that it says same thing as it does in the slide deck, that we don't take any profit until.
It doesn't say that anywhere in the operating agreement. It never says that anywhere in the operating agreement.
No, it does. I think you should.
Show it to me. It doesn't say that anywhere. Guaranteed.
I mean, I'll look for it after this, but it also says in the slide deck, and it's what we've been saying verbatim on recorded webinars that you have for Hyperfast. Same thing we've been saying verbally to other people, which is not recorded, but it's the same thing. So how do you? I mean, how do you reconcile that?
This is not going in a good direction, Vlad. You need
But Sunil, look. I mean, can you just answer me? How do you reconcile that?
I just told you. We just closed out Alton, for example, right? It got closed out. We basically said, here's all the Alton liabilities. They're paid off. Here's what's left in Alton, and we disperse that as profit. But the company's an ongoing company. It always has liabilities. I mean, that's just ongoing. It's got money coming in. It's got money going out. So for you now to say, well, I'm going to start looking at Q, and I'm looking at all these other projects for Kenyon, that's actually wrong. That's completely wrong. And there's nowhere in our company documents or anything that says that. So basically what we do is we say, okay.
Well, it says, I'm just going to keep.
Q liability has to come out of Q for sure. Mm-hmm. And then if there's like these general overhead liabilities / losses, we have to figure out how to get them paid. And we've already done that.
We haven't figured it out though. I mean, you don't even know, do you know what the total is of all those?
Yeah, it's on that sheet you sent me. Like, we have it all. Like, it's all there. So it's not like you're acting like we're saying, oh, there's like 50,000 sitting out there. We'll just keep punching it down the road.
There's about 300,000 sitting out there that's unallocated to any particular thing. Roughly 300,000. So
where are we getting 300,000?
We're getting it from about 90 for Park, General Overhead, 1249 Morse.
Okay.
There's like 7.5 for Kenyon, which, okay, fine. Like I said, about 7.5 for Kenyon. There's other fees for Rami, right? So 10,000 is for Kenyon, but there's also other fees that we have to pay him.
Like what?
I think the balance on what's it called?
On that other one, right?
Sims.
We may not pay that to him because I don't feel like we owe that. So it's like a question.
Yeah, I know, but that's a question mark. But it's just because it is liability. That doesn't change the fact that we may renegotiate it, but it is liability. There's 117, assuming we pay today, to Dan. There's about 60 to RT, and then there's about.
But RT and Dan go to Q, so that has nothing to do with this project.
Yes, but my parents, but my parents' equity was pushed out, right? So that, where does that go? Because if we just keep it all in Q, then our Q liabilities are just blown up because we have
Right, you can add extra liability to a project if that's what it calls for, because there's money in that project. So we have to do that all the time. Say, well, we have an extra $100,000 liability, but put it onto this project. Because that happens in a company, right? You'll have some overhead and stuff like that. So, I mean, we absolutely can't operate this way, Vlad. I mean, something's got to happen here because even, I was trying to not bring it up, but the whole idea of only one person in this company having access to the bank accounts, it can't work that way. And how do I reconcile the fact that I'm raising capital? I've got 100,000 capital I've raised from outside investors, and I don't even have access to my own company's books or accounts. I mean, you're doing stuff that's I don't call it illegal, but just completely wrong. You can't operate this way, and I don't know who's telling you can, but this is a big problem.
Just my accountants and accountant and common sense. I mean, I'm trying to keep it really simple.
What common sense says an owner in a company doesn't have access to the books and to the bank account? What common sense? That's against common sense. That leads to fraud. If only one person has access in the company, that increases. It's a very, very high risk of fraud because that person can do whatever the fuck they want, right?
Yeah, but there's also transparency and there is no fraud.
None of that matters. I've never been involved with a company where partners, owners of the company are accounts. In fact, in any hyperfast, Krista has access, Larissa has access. They could literally write checks and shit because they're financing people in the company. Mm-hmm. So this whole stance you're taking is completely wrong, and I can't continue to raise capital and good conscience put investor capital into a company where Vlad can just take the money and run, right? I have no control over this.
Yeah.
So you're completely wrong there. You're completely wrong in the stance you're taking now on this, is that when a project gets closed out, it needs to get paid out within 48 hours. Whatever we decide the number is, it needs to get paid out in terms of the profit. Yeah. And now it's trying to say, oh, we got to pay this, we got to pay that, it's none of that, that's not completely wrong.
Right, but I mean, just even if you take the 300 general, 300K of and look, when you say allocated for, Sunil, conversations that in passing happen, when you sort of say
I didn't consider anything in passing. We've talked about this said, look, that's not the way we're doing it.
We haven't had this conversation because I haven't had when, I'm sorry, man, but like, it sounds like you've, I don't know, either bought some property or something that you need $100K for, or whatever it is. It's not my business. But like, you can understand, right? Like, if I came to you and was like, hey, I need this money tomorrow, that's just also doesn't change this calculus at all.
Your calculus is wrong. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying it changed the calculus. Just the fact that you have the stance that I have no control of the bank accounts, that is like.
Well, that made obviously a lot of sense because initially when we started to do this, it was my personal parents' investment, and then you were getting a portion for the advisory component of all this. And we've had the conversation.
No, again, wrong, 100% wrong. We were 50-50 partners. If you read the operating agreement, I'm a 50% partner. You're a 50% partner.
Yeah,
there's
but
no advisory. There's none of that. What you just said is completely made up by you. Okay. So as an owner of the company, I have the right to have control. And if you don't trust me, you shouldn't have done this with me. You should have been like, dude, I don't trust you, and then say this is how we're to do it, and then I would have been like, okay, that either makes sense or no, I'm not comfortable with it either.
Well, that's how it initially was, and you had no access to these accounts, and you never asked for it, and I never told you I would give you access to that account. That never said that anywhere.
You're saying stuff that's almost nonsensical. It's when you're a partner, I still technically own that bank account. Legally, if I sued you, I would own that bank account. It's my property, and you're basically saying, nope, you don't have access to your own property. It's in a document. It says right there that I'm a 50% owner, and therefore I own any asset of that company. So
there's also clear order of disbursement, and by the way, you've been the only person who's taken profit out of this, not me. So.
But that's your choice. I said we should take it equally. That's by your choice.
Yeah, that's my choice for the same reasons I'm explaining to you now, because I treat this stuff extremely, extremely fastidiously, and when it says in the deck,
are you implying I don't?
I'm implying that you don't, because it says in the deck very clearly.
Then we got a problem here, man. So what do you want to do? Because if you don't disperse $100,000 to me minimum, we've got a problem. So that's my stance.
I need to talk to my account again, but I still need to get some,
It needs to be done by Friday, Vlad, because it's 24 to 48 hours after the money's in the account. You can't just hold it and say, I'll look into it and I'll get to you whenever.
Okay, so to start, I'm going to, let's just agree to disperse the investor equity, the Kenyan charges.
No, I'm not agreeing to disperse anything until this is resolved.
Okay, well, that's fine then. Do you want to talk to your accountant or somebody and then call me back?
I don't need to. I've been doing this 10 years. I already know. I've tried to explain it to you 5 times, but you keep going in a circle. Kenyan, step 1, you close out Kenyan, okay? And you say, okay, here's the numbers. Okay, great. Any liabilities? If it's a Kenyan liability, I'm not 100% agreement. We pay it off. With Randy, your mom, that $7,000. Whatever's left, it needs to be dispersed 50-50. And if there's other liabilities in the company, we need to make a list of them and say, yeah, absolutely, we need to figure out a plan. And we've already said, we've said this so many times, Dan's money can come out of that draw. I'm willing to forego profit here and pay Artie off because we said it was a business decision, right? In terms of, we said, hey, we can pay her off earlier. We can, we can pay her off on the next draw too, right? So we can, not this coming one, but the next one. So there's all ways we can pay her off because it's a situation of, with this one, I just said, what it was a business decision, right? Because we said we should invest $100,000, we can, do that. So I need some clarity on you're trying. You're new to this, and you've never done this before, but you're literally making stuff up. And I got to put my foot down because, and I honestly, I'm going to need a resolution of this bank account stuff because I can't, in good faith, have investors put money into a company that I have no.
Well, like I said, man, if you want to open another account and do it that way, that's completely fine. But until my parents get their equity returned, there's just no way that that's going to happen because that's initially how things were set up. And I know I have full rights to maintain that control.
No, you don't. You're wrong because if I took you to court, I would have rights to that thing because it clearly says an operating agreement. So
it doesn't though, and plus, those original operating agreements were signed by K Homes on my behalf, and then you had yours. So, and also the way that the new operating agreement is worded, it clearly says that the previous things are not affected. So it is a gray.
Where does it say that? Where does that? I read that operating agreement. Unless without my knowledge. It never doesn't say anything about previous anything.
Well, it's like I said in the email when I sent you the operating agreement, that there's an understanding that the previous activities are not affected by this new one. So just, you can go back and read that. But
That's fine.
besides the point, like, I'm just saying that's why it is the way it is. It wasn't because I was squirreling away control. It's because there was a clear logical reason, because this was literally all my parents' home equity money invested into this. Like, do you really think that, of course I trust you, but do you really think that would be
right? That's the bottom line. So, I mean, honestly, you should have been I feel you've been deceptive, because you should have just told me out front that, hey, look, man, if my parents do this, I'm controlling it.
But, I mean, dude.
I would have been like, okay, well, let me think about it, and then you could have come to some agreement. That
I definitely mentioned it, and like I was the one who opened the account.
I'm not going to agree to that statement. So it's a situation of, I thought we were always 50-50 partners, and if your parents don't trust me, that's fine. I get it, man. That's fine. They don't have to trust me, but then don't invest with me. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me go do all the work, bring all the intellectual capital, do all this work. I mean, they've already made money off of me, right? Or when I say me, I mean our company.
Yeah, but they're also knee deep in liabilities. Like my parents collectively invested close to $1 million, and you want to take $100K before they get disbursements in light of the fact that huge question mark over 1850 and huge question mark of 136 Q Street. So like, I know you keep saying if I take you to court, but I know, Sunil, that what I'm saying is in full fiduciary responsibility to RT, Dan, and everybody else.
I don't know how to keep telling you. You're just wrong. I mean, this is like getting to a point where it's like almost, I don't know what to say anymore. It's like, you're just wrong. I mean, you've made all this stuff up. You've never run a company, and now you're trying to tell me like all this stuff you're trying to tell me.
I mean, look, I'm sorry if this is a sore spot, but like, how did Hyperfast do after you guys contaminated all these draws and liabilities? I mean, was that a good practice for that company?
We're dealing with Hyperfast. Everything is being dealt with.
Yeah, but was that a good business decision?
Well, what I'm saying, like, was it a good business? When you have a number of projects going on, it's almost impossible to keep them as separate, like 100% separate. And that's what we've done it like all along, right? I mean, so then now you're saying, well, let's cross-contaminate Kenyon with something else. So if you want to keep Kenyon separate, then let's keep it separate and pay everything Kenyon-related, pay it. Let's get that money to the partners, and then Q is the next one. And we already have all the way to pay back everything on Q. It's already like, it's like we already know how it's going to be done.
Well, we do. See, you keep saying that, man, but like, just because you repeat something over and over, Sunil, it doesn't make it true. And in this case, the risk of development is you do not know what the outsale value is. Now, I know.
Then don't be in this business, dude. So you don't know. You can make $1 million on Q next year.
You could. But what's the meaning of preferred? What's the meaning of preferred return?
The meaning of preferred return is that in Q they're getting paid back. The documents from RT and Dan clearly say Q, so they're invested in Q. So when Q closes out, that's when we're supposed to pay them back. So if you want to wait to that time, we can wait to that time, but it's just going to cost the company more money. So I thought, let's pay them back as soon as possible. So we decided. I mean, my understanding is we decided to pay Dan off on the next draw and RT off on this Kenyon money that we're getting in. I said that makes sense because that less liability for the company. We're saving money, so we don't have to pay them, and perhaps they're going to reinvest and up their ante. So I thought that's a great idea. But technically, yeah, they should not be paid back until the end of Q. That's what we've agreed in writing with them, and that's how we do this. So then, if that's what you want to do, then let's do it. I don't think it makes sense, but we can wait.
Okay. All right. Let me think about this because I do want to. I mean, you're making some like convincing points here, and believe me, man, the last thing I want to do is the wrong thing to anybody, including you. And this, I'm like I view these things very, very seriously. If you haven't noticed, it's not because I'm trying to be like, oh my gosh, this, that. So you make some valid points. Let me revisit them with my accountant, and feel free to do the same. By the way, I'm happy to hop on a call with.
I don't need.
Yeah.
It's like you're telling a doctor, oh, why don't you go back and look at this? How to interpret lab? I've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the novice here, and you're trying to tell me how this works.
I know, man. I'm novice, but I'm not that. I'm novice, but I'm not also green. You know what I mean? And like I understand how.
In this scenario, you absolutely are. When have you ever run a real estate development company that does projects, right? So you're novice and green. You might be not novice and green in life. I'm not saying that, but in this particular situation, you absolutely are. And by withholding my profit on Kenyon, that's a problem, and that's also not right.
Yeah.
So I'm being reasonable. I'm not saying, oh, give me all the money and let's just fucking, whatever. I think we've very intelligently accounted for all our losses, all our liabilities, and you can't say, oh, what happens if the market this, what happens? We don't know. I mean, you can have winner projects, you have loser projects. If the project loses, we have to decide how to deal with it back then, or deal with it at that point, right? I mean, that's how this business goes. You have to consider whether you really want to even be in this business, because it is. It's not high risk, but it's a...
Yeah, no, I've realized, this is definitely not what I want to do for like daily cash flow purposes, because it's extremely unreliable, for sure. But
I don't think it's extremely unreliable. I think it's just a situation of you don't really know what you're getting, right? Because at the end of the day, you could double your profit, you could basically break even, right? And we set these deals up in a way that I think we protected the downside as good as possible. So,
yeah, I know, man. I know, but like, look, I really want to just say, yes, man, I completely agree with you. But the fact of the matter is that we've been paying investors out of draw money. We've been using.
If you don't want to, that's like, you just keep bringing this shit up, man. I don't even know what to tell you, dude. If you don't want to pay investors out of draw money, then fine, pay them at the end. I mean, it's just a business decision.
No, I know, but I mean, like paying over.
Or something. It's a business decision.
Yeah.
Like, if it makes sense for the company to take the draw money, you absolutely can do whatever the hell you want with the draw money. And all the bank says, you better pay me back. If you don't, I'm going to come take your asset. That's what they're telling me.
Yes, I agree. If it makes sense for the business,
Yeah, I can pay investor back. I can pay losses back. I can take it as overhead. I can take it as, whatever I want to do with the money is up to me. As long as that project is done and the bank gets paid back, that's what they care about. So if you're saying, oh, you're taking draw money and paying investors, if that's a concern of yours, that's a real. I have no idea why you're concerned about it. But if you are, then we wait and pay, all the investors back at the end, which that's what the documents say. So I don't know, what the problem. I don't know.
The documents, like, come on, man, you know what the documents say. They say that we don't take any profit until all investors get back, and what you're like, that's what they say, and I get what you're saying is that Kenyon is, you can't.
The documents do not say that. We've said that in the webinar. The documents don't say that.
Well, it doesn't matter if you say it in the webinar. It's still like important. I don't care if it's like, enforced by the.
It's a business decision. So I'm like, let's pay the investor back quicker. I want them to be happy. I want them to get paid back. I want to reduce company liability. So we've already got a system to do all this. And I'm like, let's do what we've agreed to do. Because I want to pay Artie out of Kenyon money. I could have been like, oh, no, I just want to take all the profit. Don't even pay Artie because that's cute. But I'm like, no. I mean, you and I talked about this. I think it's a good business decision to pay her off. Because it's less money the company has to float, less percent for her. I mean, 15%. Plus, she might reinvest. So if she doesn't, she doesn't, whatever. So I was like, that's a good business decision. But if we're going to be this straight about it, or this like whatever about it, then we can't. We know that Marty doesn't get paid back till the end of till the end of whatever, till the Q closes out. If we want to take everything to the exact thing. So we just need a decision on this stuff,
Okay, all right. Let me think about this, and I can call you back because I need to revisit all these other miscellaneous allocations and everything. And it definitely would make me more comfortable if Dan and RT were paid off after my parents, because obviously that is of most poignant concern. And some of that.
Good.
Yeah, I'm saying, and some, obviously, they've been disbursed for part of 1850, which is great. This guy is gonna put in some more money.
I don't understand. Vlad, dude, you gotta get your head straight here, man. Your parents are about to get 300-some thousand, almost 400 grand back out of Kenyon. They just got 50 grand out of 1850. We got another 50 grand coming in to reimburse them. I mean, they're getting a significant amount of money back. What is this concern? Well,
the concern, dude, just be realistic, man. The concern is obviously the greatest risk is at the very, very end, the tip of the waterfall, because then what happens if, out sales come like 100K short, and then who's gonna not get their 100K back, right?
Right. So what I'm saying is, like,
It's obviously at the very end where you face the greatest amount of risk, and that's why the operating that's why what we've been telling investors, and like common sense says that don't take anything until the very end, because it's the very end that matters. And what I'm saying is that if
per project.
Yeah, per project, man, but all this overhead is still like, you can't just, it has to be like properly dealt with. We can't just say like, oh, we took it out. I know you think you are, Sunil, but you can't just keep calling on your 20 years of experience, because that doesn't mean anything.
I'm gonna put it on a piece of paper. I'm not saying just go, I've been doing 20 years, just listen to everything I say. Put it on a piece of paper, and that's why the thing is, like, if you're shutting down a company, and there's like the market's down and you lose some money in the last couple of deals, but that's why that's why I keep telling you, dude, like, you need to listen to me. We need to take on another deal, because this is the time to buy deals. But you're like, oh, I want this to happen, I want that to happen. You're doing the classic reverse. You want to buy shit when the market is good, and then you want to like think, oh, you're going to make a bunch of money. Like, this is the time to take because now we get the good deals, and then we'll, whatever, let's say we break even on some couple of these deals, and we have another deal coming up that's going to be able to bring the money in. It's an ongoing business. And if you're like, dude, I don't want to do this business anymore, then then we have to think about how to wind it up. That's a different conversation. So, and just to finish, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry. And just to finish your parents' thing, again, that's if you really want to pay them first, I mean, we can talk about that. But then what you're doing is you're giving certain investors preferential treatments. Mm-hmm. That's what you're doing. And that's also a big no-no.
I agree. I completely agree. Which
well, I'm going to give because they're my mom, I'm going to give her preferential treatment, and that's again, it's not the right thing to do. And you keep trying to bring, right thing to do, which is, but if you're like, dude, like this, if they're my mom, this is my mom, I want to fucking get this thing paid off. I'll probably be like, okay, if you really want to do that, even though it's costing the company more money to do that. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So it's not a good business.
Yeah, I don't like want to give, you're right, preference to any one particular investor, even though it is my mom. That's why I'm being like hyper conservative. That's my nature. I am a consultant, and I'm used to working in these like established companies, and this is how they operate, because that's what enables them to operate at a,
Yeah, but this is not a Fortune 500, Fortune 100 company. These are like small decisions that need to be made, like, on the fly. We don't have, $1 billion sitting in a bank account where we can do all these things. Mm-hmm. So nothing we're doing here is like, it's not like we're just putting our head in the sand and ignoring like $100,000 worth of liability. We've got a way to pay everything back. Everyone will get paid back, 100% will get paid back. And, if you're, because that end thing you keep talking about, is that where you want to go with this? Like, just finish out this thing, or because we have to really look at how that's going to look at the end.
Well, no, but obviously I want every deal to be like a separate profitable thing, not like, just pull money out relying on other, future deals to come in. Like,
you're the one that's doing the opposite of what you're saying. Canyon needs to be closed out, and then we can't wait like a year to disperse money because we're like, oh, we got these other deals. When Q closes out, the day Q gets sold, same thing. We got to like disperse everything. First thing is everything gets paid off, all our liabilities, and then we say, okay, is there profit left? Great, we split it. And same thing with the next deal, and the next deal, and the next deal. Mm-hmm. That's how these things are done. That's how we've always done it. We don't like, okay, there's like 50,000 Kenyan liabilities, just forget about it, and take money and run. I don't think. I've never said that. That'd be stupid, right? But we also can't just not disperse money to partners that's owed.
Yeah. I'm not saying we're not dispersing. It's a question of how much. And look, man, I hear what you're saying. Okay. I think you hear what I'm saying, which is that we need, like, I think where there still is disagreement is the nature of the allocation of the unallocated liabilities. So let me sit down and put pen to paper and like really, really make the comprehensive list, because I, for example, even forgot to put like Rami's other stuff in there besides the Kenyan.
Well, Rami's always allocated to a job, so Rami needs to get paid out of a job. That's why, honestly, when you paid Rami, you didn't even ask me when you paid him that $7,000. I would have said, no, we're not paying him $7,000 because that needs to come out of Kenyan.
No, actually, Sunil, we spoke, and then you said
I did not.
Dude, I have really good memory, Sunil, and this happens quite frequently where we talk about something, and then you will like.
You can email me, or I should email you. We should just put it in writing.
Yeah, let's just put it like in writing or whatever in text. But when I paid him $7,000, that was what did I pay him for? I think I said.
I paid him on Canyon because remember he was bitching about Canyon. You need to pay me, And I said, it's selling in 30 days. We'll pay you. He was like, oh no, that doesn't matter. You need to pay me now. And I was like, whatever, dude. Like I was like, let's. I mean, the only urgent thing to pay him was on 1850, 18 tanks. I was holding up the project.
Yeah, but he was also yipping about everything, and in general, man, like,
it's not, but you're going against what you're saying. See what I'm saying? Like, you want to, on one hand, you want to tell me, we got to keep everything separate.
No, I'm not going against what I'm saying at all, man. Ramy finished his job, and he needs to be paid.
But then it needs to be paid out of Canyon, and we knew the money was coming in 30 days. We need to tell him, look, you wait 30 days.
That's according to you, but not according to Ramy. Like, Ramy needs to get paid, period. How we internally allocate is a completely different question.
Well, Ramy needs to get paid, but whether we pay him now or in 30 days, that's our decision,
It's our... Yes, but it's like... Look, man, objectively, if Ramy completes his work, he needs to get paid. The fact that, your standard practice with Ramy is to just, not pay him, and then that fucks up his internal processes.
I didn't say not pay him. What I said is...
Well, you want to do that. Don't you want to do that for that project?
Because I think he's wrong on Sims. I think he went ahead with that project without our authorization. Now he wants to get paid for work that we never authorized. He never even sent a final design package. He's off doing, phase 2, phase 3, or whatever the hell he's billing us for.
He actually built us only for phase 1, which we completed. And
phase 1, no, we never had the final design package. We never had the final design package.
That's the whole. That's the completion of phase 1 is the final design package, which he sent.
We never had that. Remember we had that call with him. He never got back to us. So he should have, completed that design package.
Okay, well, that's a whole separate conversation. I don't even have, whatever. If we can knock down any amount of payment, that's great. But that's. Let's not argue over this. I need to just look over all these outstanding liabilities. We need to allocate something and then find something that works. Like, obviously, we'll take some profit out of it, but I'm just.
I told you my stance, so let me know.
I'm concerned, that it can't be $100K because of these.
It's going to have to be $100K. That's my stance. So nothing short of $100K is going to make this go away from me. So.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
It's really 330-some thousand on profit, so it really should be like 170 should be coming out, right, per person. So
again, man, let's just again revisit the overhead liabilities, which it's convenient to not think about, but they're sitting there and we can't push them back to Q.
I'm saying that, dude. I'm sitting there I'm not sitting there convenient to not think about them.
Well, you are. You were saying 150K per person or 170 per person. That's just if you completely ignore overhead.
No, I've already allocated the overhead to other things. What do you keep spitting this we're just going back and forth.
But you allocated it in a convenient way, which goes against the entire spirit of the whole philosophy of investing with either Hyperfast or Perseus, which is preferred equity, man. That's
this is absolutely different priorities. I can't really participate in anything else until this gets fixed.
Okay.
If you're going to say it's less than $100,000, then we're going to have a problem. So just figure out a way to make it $100,000. I'm not saying I want 170. I'm being fair. I'm already being reasonable about it.
Well, I'm gonna try to make it as reasonable as possible, but if it's not, I don't know what you're gonna have to do, man. I'm looking for a job myself, so you got to figure that out. But we're not going to deviate too much from what's standard and acceptable, despite the fact that you've been doing this apparently this way for a long time.
That's how you define it. That's how you define it.
Well, yeah. It's defined in the slides and what we've been telling investors. That's the final source of truth.
It's not at all. So figure it out. Let me know. This needs to be figured out by Friday at the latest. We need to make a disbursement because, again, that's not correct to hold people's money for no reason. So do you think that's reasonable, or what's the time frame to figure this out?
Let me talk to my accountant, and then I'll get back to you. But I don't see why I don't want to delay this at all, and I'm obviously not profiting from it at all myself.
How are you not profiting from it?
Because I'm not taking any, I'm over the stance to first pay back to investors, and then that's how I'm not profiting from it. You don't think I need the money? I really need the money.
Canyon. You're not taking any money out of Canyon.
I want to minimize the amount of money I take out of Canyon. That's what I'm saying. I'm not profiting from it. All right, I'll talk to you later. Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about now or no?
Nothing else I can talk about until this gets resolved. So just
okay. No worries.
And to get it resolved, and let's try to get it figured out ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Okay.